Hi team, Perform360, this is Coach Jai here. We just wanted to take the opportunity to talk about next year's training. So the whole year's mapped out. We spent a lot of time together as a team working out the year's calendar and how the training ties into that. So a lot of you that have been with us for a long time will understand the structure of how we train through the year, but I'm going to run over that a little bit. So we always start the year with a little bit of a volume phase, or what we call it a preparation phase. So with our preparation phase, we're looking at starting to build general movement patterns. Okay, so we've got higher repetitions with lower weight. This is really important. We like to think about this like building a base. So if we imagine a pyramid with a really big wide base, we get to build a really big high peak. So the wider that base is, the bigger we can go. If we've got a small flimsy base, that's going to topple over at the top. Now the other thing with our volume block is that's going to tie into our first 8-week challenge. We want to think about this 8-week challenge as we understand most of our 8-week challenges. So that opportunity for our increased lean muscle mass, lose some fat, build some fitness, all of those sorts of things. Okay. Now as the year progresses, that's where we start to bring the reps down and we start to move into our strength blocks. So with our strength blocks, we start to see those lower repetitions with that higher weight or higher load. Now with those ones, these are really great. This is where we start to build our bone mineral density, our fast twitch muscle fibers. All of those things are going to build longevity and tide us through later in life. So with this is where you actually get to challenge yourself through load. But remember, it's really important to understand that we set this phase up earlier in the year when we do that volume block. Okay. Now we understand that there's a couple of different types of strength training. We can do our 6 and below reps. We've got our tempo blocks where we're starting to take pauses and spending a little bit more time under load. And that's all part of that variation that we have throughout the year as well. Now, the idea is that as we build through the year, eventually about midway through the year in June, that's where we start to see our contrast and power blocks. So with our contrast and power, that's that real explosive movements where we start doing all of our throws, our rotational exercises, all of these sorts of things. And that's that fast twitch muscle fiber. Now the beauty of that, those power blocks, is that's how we take our classic catches in backyard cricket with the family. Okay, that's how we keep up with our kids in the park. But then also for later in life, that's also how we prevent falls by having faster reflexive actions if we take a fall a long, long way in the future. Now, throughout the year as well, we will have a performance challenge. So this performance challenge is going to be more based around potentially doing beat tests, jumps, isometric mid-thigh pulls, so starting to look at testing those maximal strength efforts as well. Now with that one, everything we do in that performance challenge will be based around performance. So that's more of our members that are really looking to see some increased performance. Now the other big one as well is the games. So with the games, we've put a lot of consideration into it and we've started to map those dates out already. So with that, we're going to look at starting to build some of those key movement patterns 8 weeks in advance of the games. So that means we'll be releasing the workouts for the games a long way in advance and actually give everyone the opportunity to build the movements that we need for those games. So that means we're all prepared and we can have a really good go at the games when they come up. One of the other things we want to do is at the end of January, when we're back from school holidays and things like that, is to do an information session. So towards the end of January, a date yet to be confirmed, we're going to have an information night where we can all come down. I'll do a bit of a presentation about how that training year looks. We'll get the calendar out. But the other big thing is you get to ask your questions. Why do we do this? Why do we do that? Can we do this? All of those key questions, right, that you might want to know the answers to. And that's to inform your training better and to increase your knowledge around training as well. We always say that our ultimate goal is to allow you to train by yourself. So if ever you leave us to travel for work or anything like that, you have the ability to train yourself and understand the why behind your training. Other beautiful thing about the total body sessions is that they're either upper or lower body dominant, which means it's got more of a focus on the lower or the upper body, and it's also got more of a focus on a push and a pull. So that means if you were to train 2 days back to back, for instance, Monday and Tuesday, the way the exercises are built and the sessions are designed is that those 2 sessions complement each other really well. The same goes for if you were to train Monday and Wednesday, Thursday and Friday. Any combination of days is going to make sure that you get a really good split on the body, and hopefully that means you're training your entire body properly as well. Now, the other big thing you'll notice is progression. So when we start to talk about progression, if we try to do something really, really complex without building the bases of it, okay, generally we're going to fail at that. So what we actually do is we have a system where we build the complexity of things over the course of the training year. So we start thinking about things like slow to fast, simple to complex, static to dynamic. All of our movements will follow a structured pattern, and we try to target the entire body. So that means if I train my insides, I train my outsides. If I train my front, I train my back. Everything we do progresses throughout those blocks. And so if you actually really pay attention to the training blocks, you'll start to see from the start of the year through to the middle of the year, and then again from the middle of the year to the end of the year, how all of those exercises progress throughout the year.